What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another session of Sports Type 49 Live and always exclusively right there on NSPN. You know who it is and you know what it be. Mr. CB Caleb Benenoch, former, well, not retired yet, NFL offensive lineman for many years in the league. And we're going to talk about various topics today. Hopefully, I know he's very busy. Ron Butler, who you've known that's come on this show several times. Hopefully, Ron will be able to jump in. I know he's at the Senior Bowl, and you all know Ron has so many clients across the league on many teams. So if he can get in here and put his 2 cents in. But today, me and Caleb are going to talk about, of course, one of the things that just popped up, Tom Brady's retirement. What do you think? Well, I mean, how do you sum up? You played with Tom. You spent the practice field with him. I'm not sure what kind of convos you have with Tom. Like, what is your biggest Tom Brady memory?
I just want to say before we start, I'm the most handsome guest you've had on this show.
Oh my God, you sound like
I can't call
Styles.
myself a guest anymore. I look better than Styles. I'm not gonna lie. I'm the most handsome guest you get. But um, I didn't think Tom would retire on this note. I thought he would find his way to San Francisco. I watched the video and he seems really, really sincere. I know
Yep.
how it gets to get to that point. I know how it is because I got to that point. And again, Tom, obviously, our careers are not the same. He's the GOAT. Like, I'm not taking that. 7 Super Bowls, 10 appearances. He's the GOAT, right? I love Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes will surpass him at some point. But Tom is, the way I say it, Patrick is in a different level than the rest of the QBs in the NFL right now. Tom has been there. And Tom is a step above. And so I think he was sincere. It's not an easy decision to make for anybody, right? Like for anybody to make, to leave their career, what they've done for Tom, actually, like 23 years in the NFL.
23. Yep.
Like that's insane. I haven't even played football for 23 years. He played 23 years in the NFL. So talk about little league and college and high school and all those things. Like he's probably 30 years into this game. And so I know it wasn't an easy decision. I do think he's done because I didn't think he would leave on that note, but I don't think he wants to go out like a Big Ben. I don't think he wants to go out like
No.
a Jordan on the Wizards, where it's like you have a sour taste in your mouth. So I think he wants to go off. And again, it wasn't really a high note because last year would have been a high note to lead in passing and touchdowns and attempts and all these things. And so I just want to give him appreciation today. I don't want to question his decision. If he comes back, he comes back. Brett Favre came back like 3 times. He retired a few times and went to different teams and came back. If Tom comes back, I'd appreciate it because I love watching him. I love watching greatness. But respect to Tom, man. Like I was a hater when I was in high school because I didn't understand how hard it was to win games. I was, and I'll be honest. Like again, we're honest on this show.
Mhm.
So I was a hater with Tom until I got to the NFL and I saw how hard it is to win a game, how hard it is to be successful in this league, to be a professional, and he did that for
For 23
20
years.
years. And so respect to him, man. If he's done, he's done. I respect him. I love that man. I love all the moments he gave us. I love the Super Bowls he gave us. It's he set the bar for everybody to reach, right? And so man, respect to him, bro. And it's just I got nothing but good things to say about Tom Brady. I got nothing but positive things, and it's the end of an era. The NFL is in good hands with all these young superstar quarterbacks. It's the quarterback era. Tom's stats were better at the end of his career than at the beginning because Tom was in there when it was the defensive running the ball era,
Yep.
right? When TD was running it and Adrian Peterson was killing it. Now it's the quarterback era, and Tom adjusted through decades. Like if you there was a stat that I saw. If you split Tom's career into 3 parts of like I think it was like 6 or 7 years in 3 parts,
Hmm.
he is a Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback in every part. 3 Super Bowls, and then he had 3 or 4 Super Bowls. Then he had like a space where he didn't win Super Bowls,
So,
but he was
mhm.
MVP, NFC, AFC champion, this, that, and the other. Then Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. Like so, his accomplishments are undeniable. Again, I've been on this show talking about Patrick Mahomes, and I love Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is the most talented football player I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of talented guys, right? But Tom is the GOAT. He has the accomplishments, he has the records, he has everything. and he deserves his respect, and nothing bad to say about him. If he's really, really done, I respect it. I respect it. I respect it a lot. Like, it was a tough year for him. I didn't think he would go out on this note, but dude, it's much respect, and like I want to give him his space and his time. Let him figure it out. He's out here in Tampa fishing, and he's got his $6 million boat. He's doing all his things, and hopefully, I hope that he comes back and goes to play for the Niners, the Raiders, or one of these teams or Miami. But he's got this big contract with Fox News,
300.
Fox Sports, FS1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $375 million over 10 years. He's making more money. And you know what's crazy? Sorry, I'm going to let you go. But Tom set
you
the
good?
standard for great quarterbacks. He did. No, Tom set the standard. I'm going to give him his flowers. Tom set the standard for great quarterbacks and taking discounts because Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James don't take discounts. They say, you're going to pay me like the best player in the world, which I am, right? Tom says, you know what? I know the market for quarterbacks is 40 million a year. I'll take 25 and get this guy and get that guy and get that guy. Patrick Mahomes says, okay, I'm chasing Tom. So give me a 12-year contract is so straight with the players on my team, right? And so that's the standard for great players. I don't think everybody should do that because I want everybody to get their money. And I have no qualms about Aaron Rodgers saying I want 50 million because everybody is not Tom Brady. Everybody is not supposed to be the greatest ever. So I want people to go get their money, but he set the standard for that thing because he valued winning. He valued winning, and dude's amazing, and I'm thankful for him and what he's done for this game that I love so much, that you love so much, and everybody loves so much, and so much respect to him.
You have to if you really honestly and appreciate the game and are just not in it for whatever reason. But if you honestly love the game, which most of the players do, or you're there for whatever reason, but if you're not sure what we're talking about, if you guys haven't seen it already, I'll play this real quick about Tom Brady's retirement on what Caleb's exactly talking about.
When you do things right, people.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away.
Things right,
I'm retiring.
People won't be sure you've done
for good.
anything at all. When you do
I know the
things
process
right,
was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured
right,
I just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much to every single one of you for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing.
When you do things right.
Love you.
Yeah, it's pretty sincere. He damn near looked like he's in tears, and in the background, I already know where he is. He's sitting on the beach over there on Clearwater Beach.
Yeah,
I know exactly. I know exactly where he was when he posted that video.
Yeah, same.
But
it's awesome.
Do you remember anything like a quote or anything he said to you? I remember when Ben Jarvis said he told
not really a quote from him, but I just remember watching him. He had he told people Antonio Brown coming to the Patriots, and I watched him and Antonio Brown not miss a pass. I watched Tom again. He practiced 1 day a week because again he was older. I watched him and Antonio Brown not miss a deep ball all week. I watched Antonio Brown's first week. Antonio Brown had like 117 yards and a touchdown. His first week with Tom Brady. I watched Tom Brady fight for Antonio Brown to come to the Bucs, and they won a Super Bowl because of it. Because don't fool yourselves. Whatever you have to say about Antonio Brown is an all-time receiver. I don't care what you have to say about him. If you look at his 6-7 year span, nobody had those numbers like he did, right? And Tom can see that. I watched Tom work with Gronk, and Gronk is a great player, right? Gronk is a great player. He made Gronk, and he worked with Gronk, and there's all these relationships, man. And I've seen Tom do so many great things, and it's just like all we can do is appreciate greatness. We get bored of greatness. I talk about this with Patrick Mahomes all the time.
Mhm.
Like, you want to find the same thing happened with Tiger Woods and Serena Williams and Michael Jordan and now LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. It's like you get bored of watching. Okay, I know LeBron James is going to go score 40 points and 30
He gonna
points
get
at
his.
38 years old. Yeah, so it's like, oh, well, he missed a free throw. Oh, LeBron James sucks now. John Morant's better. No, he's not. Oh, John Morant's better than Kevin Durant. Oh, like, what's his name? Giannis right now. Giannis gives you 15 rebounds, 30 points a game,
He
and it's
does
like, oh,
everything.
well, this guy's better. No, he's not. Because you expect greatness with somebody else, and when somebody else is a little bit of something, you want to find something to go talk about and make parody. And it's just like, dude, let's appreciate this greatness. And what a career for him if he's really, really done. I don't know if he is. It seemed like he is, but I just
Yeah,
appreciate him. I knew him briefly, but I love what he did, man. And he was great for this game, and he's a great ambassador on the mic. I think him and Tony Romo will be a great back and forth as far as, you know, the color commentary goes. And
Mhm.
so it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see.
Definitely that. And then, like I said, it's on to see what he does next with his career, and you have to check out Tom Brady's life after the NFL and see what he does as far as commentating. He might be a great commentator and up there in broadcaster analysis. So we get to see, because he always strives for greatness. So let's see what he does off the football field, because we all know what he does on it.
Exactly.
So
I
move on
don't
to
think
the.
that's something you can shut off. You know, it's not stuff you can shut. One of the best things I've ever heard from somebody. I had a life/sports coach when I was in college, and he says how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So how you are a son, how you are a mother, how you are a father, whatever it is, you do everything the same. So like, you need to take out the trash today. You take out the trash. You need to go do this. You need to go study. So how you do anything is how you do everything. And Tom only knows greatness. Kobe, rest his soul, probably top one or two of my favorite athletes of all time. Kobe went from being the best NBA player in the league, one of the goats, right, into writing a short story that won an Oscar in a year, because he dedicates that much time into whatever he does. And he was investing in businesses that was making millions and millions. Kobe was in on body armor before anybody was, right? He had the Mama Academy. He had all these things. And so it's like, how you do one thing is how you do anything. And so I don't doubt that Tom will be great at broadcasting, because he has so much insight. The same way the Manning cast is so great on Monday nights, because you have two people who are so invested in football, who are so great at it. They can sit at their homes and talk and joke and do all these things, and it makes the game more fun for everybody, right? And they make the game so much fun for fans. And so I don't doubt that Tom will be great at that. Whatever he does in his future, he's going to be great at. He doesn't need to do anything, right? He can go away and not talk to anybody, and his legacy is his legacy. But he's choosing, right? And I don't think it's for money, because Tom has
Mhm.
enough money. He has hundreds of millions of dollars, but he's choosing to keep giving back to this game that he loves, and to be involved in this game. And people will tune in when Tom Brady is speaking about a game and talking about performances of quarterbacks. And I hope he's there for the Super Bowl. I hope him and Tony Romo and whoever else is there for the Super Bowl, and they get to talk about this game, because like, I want to hear from him. I want him to be gone from the game. Like, we love Troy Aikman talking about football and certain
Mhm.
things like that. And Troy Aikman isn't half the player that Tom Brady was. Let's
Mm-mm.
be real. So again, yeah, he's not. And so, dude, I got nothing but good things to say about him. I I I, I love that man as a fan more than anything, because again, we don't have a personal relationship, but as a fan, I love that dude, bro. He did great things, and I got nothing but good things to say, man. If he's done, it's a great career.
So we'll end that. Cups up to Brady right there. The cups up for him, and on to the next chapter in his life. And speaking of the next chapter, we can't
Hmm.
go. We got to talk about this, because I know you've been waiting to talk about this. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and try to roast me right here a little bit. We're gonna talk about them championship game recaps. Uh, I was technically we both were one for one this week.
I've been waiting to gloat because again, shouts out to Philly. And I'll start with this. Shouts out to Philly. Shouts out to Jalen Hurts. And what I will say, I'll start with Jalen Hurts first. What I will say about Jalen Hurts has been ridiculed. He got benched by Alabama. He went to Oklahoma, worked with a great coach who's now at USC. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he went there. That's like another quarterback guru. Because Caleb Williams is going to be the number one pick in the draft when he leaves.
You talking about Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley. Yeah. Right? He went to go work with Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley got like the last 3 Heisman winning quarterbacks. That's unreal.
He's on a roll.
He's a quarterback guru. And that's what the NFL is now. It's a quarterback league, right? So Lincoln Riley is doing that. Like, again, shouts out to him, props to him. Jalen Hurts went there, worked on his game. He struggled his first year as far as NFL standards because if we're talking about everybody else, like Jalen Hurts been a star. He was a 2nd round pick. But he struggled his first year. He worked on his game. And he was, what is it, 16-1, or he barely lost games. And so
correct.
He doesn't do it the same way Josh Allen does. He doesn't do it the same way Burrow does. He's not a traditional quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is not a traditional quarterback. But all these guys are different. LeBron Jackson's not a traditional quarterback, but he wins games. And so Jalen Hurts has done that. He has done that, right? So I want to give him his respect and give him his due. But this dude, Patrick Mahomes, bro, I've talked about it all year. When people wanted to say Josh Allen was better, when people wanted to say, I told you. They're going to say Joe Burrow was better. And then all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes on one leg, right? Because I've had a high ankle sprain. Guys, if you haven't had it, you don't know. That's a 6 to 8 week injury, a high ankle sprain. And he went out there and outplayed Joe Burrow, who had better weapons. He had 3 receivers go down. He was throwing to guys. One of the guys who made a key catch on 3rd and 4th down. Valdez-Scantling was a throwaway. Again, he's a good player. He's in the NFL. So he's a good player.
Pete? From St. Pete?
Green Bay Packers didn't want to pay him. Yeah, he's from Tampa. And so they had other guys who had more tackles in their career than they had catches. He had 24 tackles on special teams and 2 catches. And that's what he was throwing to. And he found a way to get 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That is amazing. And so, like, to touch back on Tom Brady thing, like, we have to appreciate greatness and not get bored of greatness. 5 straight home AFC championship games is greatness. In 5 years as a starter, 5 straight home championship games. 3rd Super Bowl appearance in 5 years. We got to appreciate it and not get bored of it, right? Like, oh, Patrick Mahomes throws 300 yards. Okay, whatever. Excuse me. Somebody else throws 300 yards. Oh, my goodness. Is that Patrick Mahomes? Is he better than? No, he's not. Because this guy does it every single week. And I don't really have nothing much else to say about him, but this dude is amazing. He's amazing. And, like, I just want people to understand what they're seeing and to appreciate it and to have a sport where, even in basketball, you went from Jordan and then you had Kobe and then you had LeBron. That's not normal to see that level of greatness back to back to back. Right. And in football, we have American sports are amazing. Right? Because we had Jordan, then we had Kobe to take the toll. Shaq in the middle of it. Excuse me. Shaq in the middle of it. And then you had LeBron. It's like you have to appreciate this greatness, right? So I just appreciate Patrick Mahomes' greatness. He's amazing. It's so fun to watch. Like when he's on TV, I'm turning the TV on. What are your thoughts?
Like the first game, of course, we talked about Jalen Hurts. I watched almost all of Jalen Hurts' games in college, and he had a big issue with accuracy in college. And I guess his progressive, the way he reads through progress is through his reads in the game. So the teams in colleges were just playing man coverage and forcing Jalen Hurts to make pinpoint throws to these wide receivers. That was pretty much his stint coming out of college. That's why they moved on to Tua Tagovailoa at that time. Now he goes to Oklahoma, gets with the quarterback girl. That actually, like Jalen Hurts said, he said getting setbacks actually helped him move forward in life, and he didn't realize the blessings that he was getting till after you got him. You go to a guy who's a quarterback guru, works on your mechanics in the game, to fine tunes the things that you couldn't fine tune. You almost win another Heisman out in Oklahoma, and now you go on to the pros, like you said, goes to a second round draft pick because these draft experts, whatever reason, teams didn't want to draft him to the second round, which was the Philadelphia Eagles. Year one goes by. You see kind of the same things with Jalen Hurts, learning the league, picking up the game speed of the league, relying on your legs and things like that. Year two comes around. Now he fine tunes everything. You can see his progression through his reads. He's actually making reads on linebackers, understanding coverages, understanding pass protection. I can see all this. Maybe the average fan doesn't, but you can see the comfortability of what he's looking at versus year one, because instead of chasing the game has come to him now. Now everything is kind of slowed down. And I'm sure you know what that means as far as the game slowed down and trying to learn everything, especially you had to play out of position at your earlier in your career. So the game was so fast at that point. And I just really like the progression that he's gone, and the team is just formulated around him and is fit the way it works. Now moving on to the Patrick Mahomes and the whole Bengals thing. Joe Burrow was 3-0 against them. Now he's 3-1. They come into this game heavily shit talking in this game, Burrowhead and all that type of stuff, and high energy, high motivation in this game. I mean, it was so high intensity to the last play, the controversial play where Patrick Mahomes gets hit going out of bounds, which would have made the Chiefs had to go a 57 to 60-yard field goal in that stadium. I think only two people have done.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that wasn't controversial at all to me. He was out of bounds.
Oh, I agree.
We know the rules. We're players. We know the rules. And people want to talk about officiating, and they want to talk about everything. They were like, oh, there's a hold on this play, a hold on that play. There's a penalty on every play. Mm-hmm. Referees are human beings. You cannot correctly officiate every single game. The same way a quarterback is not going to make a perfect pass every single game. Sometimes you need guys to make plays. You need officials to make plays. If they didn't call that pass almost to his bench when he got pushed out of bounds, to the other side of the bench, because he was on the Bengals bench, that's not a wrong call. And so people need to stop blaming officials. We talked about the NFL being rigged. I never got a text of my 3 years starting. I never got a text that said we have to blow this game because we need this person to win. That never happened. That we have to lose this game to go do something. It's, again, parity is supposed to happen. Like, that's what makes this game exciting. That's what makes this game fun. It's hard. It's split decisions. And if you've never been in that situation, it's hard to understand it. It's hard to understand. But Asai is his name, right? The defensive end?
Yeah, Asai.
Yeah. Like, he played a good game, and he played hard the whole game. And so he made a split-second decision to, like, hey, man, I got to get this guy to bounds. I got to do whatever I got to do. He played hard, and something happened. It was a penalty. Okay, so what? There's plenty of times I've sat there and been like, hey, this guy's on my edge, or he's beating me. I don't want Jameis Winston or whoever's my quarterback to get hit in the side of the head. So I'm going to do this, and if they call it, they call it, right? So it's split-second decisions. Don't blame him. Don't blame officials. One thing coaches tell us, this week, Peyton was great. And we'll talk about Sean Payton later. He was great at this. Like, hey, man, these are the officials we're coaching this week. We're playing against this week, right? This is what they called. They called so many pass interferences. They called so many holdings. They called so many special team penalties. And so understand that when you're going in your position group and how much you can get away with. Because some officials let hand fighting with the receivers go on. Some people let hand fighting with O-line and D-line go on. So understand what they call and how they handle it, and you know that going in. So the game is supposed to happen Because last year, when the Bills and the Chiefs played and the Chiefs lost, it was like, oh, well, we didn't get a chance to get the ball. So they changed the rules.
Right.
Like they literally, the NFL changed the rules and said, okay, you each get the ball regardless of a touchdown or not. Because if Peyton Manning had got the ball after Tim Tebow scored, do you think he would have scored? Probably. Because Peyton Manning was
Probably.
dicing and slicing that year, right? He broke the NFL record for yards in a year and touchdowns in a year and did all that stuff, right? So you want the rules to change to fit your team, but it's just like, hey, man, this is football. It's a game. It's a fun game. We all enjoy it, and there's parity in it. It's never going to be perfect. Somebody's going to be upset at the end of the day because only one team gets to win a championship. And if Pat Mahomes doesn't win a championship next week or in 2 weeks, they're going to be like, well, is he really that good? Because right now it's like, oh, he did this on one leg. Is he the greatest of all time? Blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks ago, it was like, is Joe Burrow better than Patrick Mahomes? 3 weeks ago, it was like, is Josh Allen better than Patrick Mahomes? So media is always going to talk about something to make a parody, but I think we need to appreciate greatness. We're watching greatness right now. We're watching it. We are currently watching it in live time. Whoever was old enough, we saw Tiger, we saw Serena, we saw Tom, we saw LeBron, we saw Kobe, some people saw Jordan, and appreciate greatness, man, and just don't be complaining. Like there's parity in the game. That's what makes it fun. And so like, I love the game, obviously because my pick won, but like whether or not he won, like I still would have loved the game. I still would have. I loved the game last year. And Pat didn't play bad, but he went on interview and said, I choked because I didn't finish the game and I didn't win. He threw for like 300 yards and a few touchdowns. And he was like, I choked because I didn't win. And so it's like, dude, like, you don't, and I think I love the show because we always talk about players' perspective. He played a great game by any metric because Patrick Mahomes, and you can look this up, whoever's watching, he leads in every single statistic ever for somebody starting 5 years. It doesn't matter if it's regular season, postseason, career, he leads in every single metric. And he can still sit there and say, oh, I choked last year. Appreciate the greatness. Appreciate what you're seeing. These guys are making great television, making great content. And I love it. I love it. This is the best sport. Football's the best sport. NFL is the best sport. These guys are amazing. They're amazing.
No, it is. It's absolutely fun to watch these guys of all different shapes and sizes make the plays and do the things that they do week in and week out. Injuries, non-injuries, banged up, bodies hurting, stuff off field plaguing your mind, and these guys come out and do these things that make us all in wow because you got to appreciate what the things that are happening in the moment. And like you said, a lot of people take a lot of things for granted. A lot of times, I think we all do with whatever it is in life, but especially in the sports world. That's why I never complain about any game. I never try to say any game's meaningless. I never try to say any of that because the season goes by so quick, and here we are at the final week of the season, and now we got to wait for the offseason just to have these conversations over again week one. So, yeah, you got to take appreciation when you see greatness, and we'll see what 2023 brings when this season comes to an end.
I want to ask you about something because I know we have other topics to get on, but the Pro Bowl is now flag football. It's a flag football game, and they always had the quarterback challenge and all these challenges and things like that, and like that's all great and good. But now the Pro Bowl is flag football. I'll tell you my thoughts about it. I think it's dumb. I do. I don't care if people say like, okay, like, yeah, we all remember when I'm gonna say we all, but us older guys, and I'm 28 years old, and I'm calling myself an older guy because that's what it seems like now. Sean Taylor hitting the punter and almost taking his head off, right? RIP to Sean Taylor, the great player he could have been, right? He hit that guy super, super hard, and like that's like, oh, that's what Pro Bowl's supposed to be. Listen,
took his soul.
Guys, I'm gonna say something to you, right? Take your soul. I'm gonna say something to you guys right now. We banged every single day from probably August 20th till January. When you go to the Pro Bowl, guys want to have fun. Guys don't want to get injured. guys want to go do it. Because again, if I get hurt in the Pro Bowl, I now have off-season surgery. I can't spend time with my family.
That
I can't
part.
spend time rehabbing. I can't do any of those things, right? And you're still looking at it like, oh, it's football. I want guys to hit hard and do all these things. And so now the NFL says, okay, because people aren't watching the Pro Bowl anymore because the Pro Bowl had turned into quote unquote like a touch league. So now they made it a flag football 7-on-7 league. And I'm gonna watch it because I love football. I love the players. I love what they do. But it's like crazy to me that that's what it's had to turn to. Excuse me. That's what it's had to turn to because of fans' demands and like things that people think. And it's just like I understand, like the NFL's a business, and they're gonna do what fans want and fans love. That's how businesses work. Your consumers, you have to cater to your consumers. But I didn't mind the guys aren't going full speed, guys aren't hitting each other and blasting them. Like I told the story a couple weeks ago about Grady Jarrett pulling me away in the last game of the season where we're both not going to the playoffs, pulling me away from getting an injury. Like that's normal. So like again, I'm still gonna watch the Pro Bowl, but I just don't agree with this thing about we're gonna go play flag football. Like that's not what we do. We're professionals. We're not a flag football league. And so like I hope that again, we'll see how the ratings go. If fans like it, I'm sure they'll keep going, but I don't mind the Pro Bowl being what it is. I don't mind again, I got so many thoughts on this, but like what are your thoughts on the Pro Bowl in this situation right now?
Pro Bowl to me is I've had to change my perspective for so long, and you're right. You think of Pro Bowl, you've been in that. Yeah, these guys are supposed to be out there knocking each other out, helmets flying off, clothesline, and all that. But when you hear you guys' perspective of it, it brings the whole reality to it. You guys have been doing it all season, and at this point in the year, if you get hurt, it takes effect into the next season. And now you're affecting your team and yourself for next season because now you're sitting here waiting to play because you had to get knee surgery or something done. But that was one train of thinking. Now with it, it's like I don't take Pro Bowls that serious anymore. And the reason for that, even in accolades, I don't take it as serious anymore because it's voted by the fans. The year I watched
Yep.
Clay Matthews make the Pro Bowl and he didn't play a down that year is the moment when I
Yep.
stopped taking the Pro Bowl seriously because that award is
100%.
not.
The
It's not.
quarterback from the Ravens got in.
Yeah, I said
Huntley,
that.
Tyler Huntley got in, and he played 2
Yeah,
games.
I said that award now. It's you're giving it to somebody for just popularity and not because of their play. Like for example, a guy Alex Highsmith had a phenomenal year, 14 and a half sacks. Doesn't make Pro Bowl because he doesn't meet the popularity standards. But and with that, and what brings me to my point of if the fans want flag football, then could give them that because it's clearly voted by them, and that's why these guys are in there because that's their fan favorite. If the fans like it, then that's what they want, and that's what they do. If they want those quarterback challenges, then give it to them because they're there because they're voted by the fans. They're not there because you earned the right to be at the Pro Bowl because of your great performance that season. That's just what I feel on it.
Definitely. The Pro Bowl is definitely a fan thing. That's why I understand the NFL switching to the flag football. It's something for the fans, and it's something to give you in between the AFC and NFC championship games
Right.
and the Super Bowl. You have that 2 week span. Okay, how do I give you football again without that? So that's kind of what the Pro Bowl is, and I understand. And for a long time, it was a ballyhoo and like really respectable thing. I think people are realizing more now. Okay, Pro Bowls are cool, right? It's cool to get it, but like, how many All Pros did you make, right? Because All Pros are the best of the best,
That counts,
right? All Pros are the best of the best. It's the best players. Like, okay, you're in the Hall of Fame. How many All Pros did you have, right? We talked about Khalil Mack making All Pro 2 positions, and so I think it's more visible now, especially with this flag football thing. I'm just like, dude, what are we doing? Flag football, like, what are we doing? But again, like, as long as the fans enjoy it and they enjoy seeing those things and they enjoy seeing the 40-yard dash and Micah Parsons winning a 40-yard dash last year against some receivers, and as long as the fans have fun, I think that's what it is.
They
right?
voted
It's
him.
still a notch. Yeah, it's still a notch on your belt, but it's different. It's different than what I've grown up with. It's different than what I've seen, what I've experienced. But again, like as long as the fans love it, I think it's more of a fan thing than like a player thing.
Yep.
I think players would rather have all pros
Yep.
and to be like, hey, the fans, not the fans, but the players and the coaches voted me into this position. But I just wanted your thoughts on it. And so, like, yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, I definitely. That's how I had to change my way of thinking. Like I said, as the league changes, the way you think's got to change. So I think we're both in agreement with that one. What's next?
Yeah.
Where we at? Championships game. We said how did the Cowboys move on to be better? You want to hit that one?
Yeah, we can hit that one. And I think this is a quick one. So Kellen Moore leaves. They fire Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore goes to the Chargers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally a day after. Um, we're in this role in this thing of Tom Brady just retired, and we talked about Tom earlier, and they fired Brian Leftwich. Brian Leftwich had coached a team, coached an offense that went to the Super Bowl, went to the championship game, and was the number one offense like 3-4 years, and was one of the top,
Correct.
coaching
That's with two
recruits
different
ever.
quarterbacks.
Kellen Moore did the same thing, right? So a lot of times when you're paying somebody, and I've talked about this before, you're paying somebody more than you're paying the offensive coordinator. You need a scapegoat. So what do the Cowboys do from here? Like, do they make a move at Dak? Because again, we're in this situation where we think that every quarterback is supposed to go to Super Bowl, right? Like, we watched Patrick Mahomes, we watched Peyton Manning, we watched Tom Brady always go to Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl. Most quarterbacks don't get those opportunities, and they don't go to
No.
those things.
No.
Aaron Rodgers went to one Super Bowl. He won it, but he went to one.
That's
But
it.
you can't tell me a list that Aaron Rodgers is not a top 5 quarterback of all time, right? So I
If you
think
just
we're
count
in
the
this
Super
situation.
Bowls. Right.
Not even if you count Super Bowls. I'm talking about talent and play. Like
Yeah.
it's another discussion. We talk about Kobe and LeBron, and Jordan doesn't have the most championships in NBA history.
No.
He doesn't. But we know that he's. A lot of people call him the GOAT. LeBron doesn't have more championships than Jordan, but people call him the GOAT, right? Kobe's my favorite player, so I'm gonna, cape for Kobe all the time. But like we have all these criteria, and I'm just like, hey man, just because you're the best player doesn't mean you're gonna do and you're gonna win a Super Bowl. Like it takes a lot. It takes team building. It takes everybody, especially in a sport like football, where it's not one guy. One guy can make a difference in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 guys playing. LeBron can take over a game.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes can throw 400 or 500 yards, and if the defense gives up 60 points, he's going to lose. Right? So, like, I think, like, this whole thing with Dak is weird, and, like, you always want to move on. But, like, the thing about it is, it's still a business. Football's a business. Fans have a say in what happens. And so, Kellen Moore got scapegoated because Kellen Moore has done a great job. And I believe, early Super Bowl pick, I believe the Chargers, and again, note this down, you can click this, the Chargers will be in the championship game with the Chiefs next year.
So you're
With
saying
Kellen Moore and
championship
Justin
game with
Herbert.
Chargers and Chiefs.
Chargers and Chiefs. Because Kellen Moore is good at what he does. He's good at making guys better. He's good at calling plays. Because he made Dak got $70 million his first year in his contract. That's a
Right.
fact. Dak was a fourth or fifth round draft pick,
To Dak.
and he wasn't a fourth or fifth draft pick. I'm not
Sure.
saying Dak's not talented. I'm not saying he's not good, but there was 32 teams passed on him 4 rounds.
Twice.
That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? No, 4 times they passed on him. All 32 teams. So Kellen Moore is good at his job, but when your quarterback doesn't play well, you find somebody to scapegoat, especially a high-paid quarterback. And so, I think the quarterback, especially with Tom retiring now, I think the quarterback market this offseason is going to be kind of insane. I think there's going to be a lot of movement. I think Yeah, I do. I really, really do. Aaron Rodgers might move. Dak might move. Brock Purdy and all those guys. Like, there's so many. Again, because you see what the standard is now. Tom is gone, right? Supposedly, he's announced retirement. Aaron is on the brink. But you have Patrick Mahomes. You have Joe Burrow. You have Josh Allen, you have Trevor Lawrence. There's a few teams that they know like this is our quarterback, and he's a star. A lot of other teams don't have that, and they're not sure. So I think draft day might be crazy. I think this off season might be crazy. There's going to be trades and quarterback movements and pick switch for the teams that have picks to switch. I think Miami has a lot to think about now that he announced his retirement, so he's not going there. San Fran has a lot to think about because now that Tom announced his retirement, they have to do the Brock Purdy with his injury and Trey Lance with his injury. They have a lot to figure out. And so there's like 5 teams that know, like, I got a franchise quarterback that I'm sticking with. Jalen Hurts is up there now. He's up in that upper echelon of quarterback. So say what you want about him. I've criticized him at times, but he wins games. Lamar Jackson becomes a bigger commodity now because if you don't pay him, somebody is going to pay him a lot of money.
Somebody's going to pay him.
A lot of money. More money than you would pay him or you're able to pay him, right? Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, before all those allegations and everything like that, was a top 5 quarterback as far as numbers. He was. His team was just bad.
He was electrifying.
And his coach was not an offensive-minded coach. He was electrifying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few teams that have these quarterbacks who you can rely on because, again, it's a quarterback league.
Yep.
And so it's really, really interesting what the Cowboys are going to do. They fired Kellen Moore. And I'll say this about the Cowboys. If the Cowboys want to win the Super Bowl, they would have forgiven, and we're going to talk about Sean Payton next, probably. But they would have given Sean Payton everything he wanted and fired Mike McCarthy. But what I believe about Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones has won 4 Super Bowls. But the coaches he won the Super Bowls with, he fired. And they only did 2 years apiece.
Right.
Because Jerry Jones wants to win his way. He just doesn't want to win. He wants to win his way. He doesn't want to clash heads with people. And I've talked about this on this show. My favorite people in the world is people I disagree with. Because we get to bounce ideas off each other, and I get to learn. Jerry is, 70-something years old. He's a super billionaire, has the most successful franchise in the world, right? And so I think he wants to win his way and not win just to win. And so I don't see the Cowboys winning anytime soon, especially because Mike McCarthy is a good coach. He's not a great coach. There's only a few great coaches. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, those kind of things, right? And so, like, it's interesting to see what the Cowboys do with Dak and Andy with his contract. If they make a trade for Aaron or whatever it is, but I think it says a lot that the Cowboys especially, are not making the real change they need to make. Because if you want to go compete in this league, because again, like, there's Patrick Mahomes threw to backup receivers and was able to win a championship game. Dak Prescott couldn't get that done with a great defense. You can't score 19 points. You can't score 20 points in a game to move yourself forward. And so I think the league has a lot of parity. I think it's really going to be an interesting offseason. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you there. I'm looking forward to this offseason because there's going to be a lot of shakeup. And I think people are going to try to emulate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Rams with the plug-and-play quarterback to win a Super Bowl, especially a team like you brought up. As soon as you said that, that's the first thing I thought about. You plug and play Aaron Rodgers into Dallas that already has a superstar defense, and all you can get, if you need to get 25 to 30 points a game, you possibly win a Super Bowl. What does that look like? What does it take to get guys like that? But it's going to be this offseason is probably going to be one of the best because there's going to be a lot of moves, and I'm sure we're going to be right here talking about it. Caleb's going to give you all the insight he has because he has friends that are still playing all over the league, and it's going to be really fun to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And it's just I love the fact that there's so much parity in the NFL. I love the fact like they just keep giving us great moments. And I've played for years, but I've been a fan for a long time, and like it's been amazing. Like I think it's only going to get more interesting in the off season, especially when there's that break when it's just like, okay, basketball's done, football's done. A lot of people don't watch hockey, right? Unless you're a Canada or Northern American team, people don't watch hockey. The runs and all like that. I think it'll be a really fun, right? Okay, I want to talk to you because I know I'm going to skip a few things, but Dameko Ryan's to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Dameko Ryan's to Houston, right? Dameko Ryan's a great player for the Niners. He played for Houston as well. Coach the Niners, they had the best defense, right? They drafted really, really well. Because we talked about Buckner and Armstead and Bosa and Fred Warner and like all those guys are draft picks. It wasn't free agents, right? They drafted really well. Dameko Ryan gets to Houston. He signs a 6-year deal. And I hate the race thing, right? I don't want to talk about his race. I want to talk about him as a coach, right? So he has been a really, really good defensive coach and defense coordinator. Houston is going to be in the market for a quarterback because they need a quarterback. Davis Mills, he played well. I'm not going to disrespect anybody that's in the NFL because it's hard to be in the NFL. It just is, right? But when you're competing with Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and all these guys, it's hard to have a guy that's not at that level and want to say, I'm fighting for Super Bowl.
Right.
So how do you think Dameko Ryan's tenure plays out? Where do you think they go? If you're the Houston Texans, do you trade up to get that number 1 pick and get the quarterback from Alabama or Ohio State or Kentucky? Or do you wait to see who they pick and go? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Dameko doesn't need to chase things. I think you taking over a franchise I would have loved to hear Xavier's opinion on this because he played for this team, but
yeah, we'll get him on later.
You don't chase. I've seen this story over and over. You come to a franchise that's in shambles, and that organization is in shambles. So Lovie Smith did a good part picking up a great running back in Pierce. Got you a corner, started getting key pieces on there, trying to build defense first because he knew the offense was going to struggle. So he at least wanted you to have where you can stop people from scoring. So he did give Dameko a little head start on getting him a premier corner, at least, and a running back to work with. Now, as far as quarterback and everything goes, I think Dameko needs to let things come to him. I don't think he needs to chase him. I don't think he needs to try to outreach and try to get things and give up draft collateral because that team needs every draft pick. He needs to build his because it's not built to win now. It's not. That's why everybody's going to look at these next couple of years. Oh, Dameko Ryan's his team is this, that. I'm like, you have to realize what this man just took over. And I don't want to see a case. I know you don't want to talk about the whole race thing, but I don't want to see him come in here these 2 years, make excellent picks for 2 years, and then finally in year 3, you get the right piece that you need to get the team moving forward. And you done fired this man to move somebody in to take all the credit for. We didn't see that story before several times in the NFL. I just don't. I wasn't gonna mention it, but I seen this story too many times, and he's put in it. This team is not winning anything anytime soon. But he's alleged he's taken the opportunity to try to build that team he played for. So I'm sure he's taking great pride in this. And he's going to have to make slam dunk selections and trades and picking guys up off of waiver wire, guys that fit his system. I'm sure he's going to take a lot of guys from the San Francisco or try to get guys that played in that system to teach the other guys what he expects on the defense and stuff like that. Because clearly coming from San Francisco to the Houston, you're not going to have that level of tenacity that you had with the team before. So now you got to impose a whole new culture on defense and on offense. And speaking of that, to further a point that you brought up earlier when we first got together is can defensive coaches win in this league? He's not by far a offensive minded guy. We all know that. So what kind of supporting cast are you going to get? Are you going to get a decent offensive coordinator? Who's the offensive coordinator going to be? How are you going to move this offense? How are you going to try to do things like that? So he's going to need a great support system to move forward, because if Dameko Ryan is calling plays on offense, I don't know how I feel about that, especially with his quarterback situation. But to further answer your question with an elongated statement I just made there, I don't think they need to chase after a quarterback. I think you need to let things come to him, because you are no way, shape, and form ready to win any games right now. You're going to put a young quarterback in this system to get beat up, and then by the time you're ready, contract time is going to come up, and now you're going to deal with you're worried about your time running out, because it's going to be like year 3 in your contract and you got a 5-year deal. Now you got to worry about, do you want to keep this guy? Do you want to extend him and give him the big deal? What do you want to do? I just think he needs to let things come to him and build the team the way he wants that he sees fit, and change the culture there.
I agree with you, and I think he needs to let things come to him. Don't make any crazy decisions. Don't trade away draft capital. Right? I don't know how much money the Texans owners have to make off-season moves, because that's like the big thing, right? It's like you make off-season because, again, finding quarterbacks like, again, a Mahomes or a Joe Burrow, right, or a Josh Allen or a Trevor Lawrence, they're a dime a dozen. They rarely come. The Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, like, there's plenty of quarterbacks that have been picked in the first round that didn't pan out. So those guys who are like superstars and surefire Hall of Famers and things like that, they're a dime a dozen. So make your picks, build a culture. I hope he gets the same kind of time the coach from Detroit did, to be able to go 3 and whatever it was, 14 his first year, and make changes and get better. And like Jared Goff was supposed to be a castaway, and he goes and plays so well in Detroit. And like, so I hope he gets that time to go do those things. But before I gotta go, I got 2 more questions for you. Your early Super Bowl prediction. Early Super Bowl prediction, right? And then I want to talk about briefly the all-time greatest players in sports, and where do you see Mahomes ranking in that list. But early Super Bowl prediction, your thoughts after the Eagles played, the Chiefs played. You picked the Bengals, right? And you were very wrong about that. Like, I knew you. But so your early Super Bowl prediction, are you going to rock with the Eagles? Or are you going to rock with the Chiefs?
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Early, we can change it. We got fly, Eagles, fly. Okay. Hey, on the show, I'm going to tell you right now, let's bet 100 push-ups on it. I got the Chiefs. I got my homeboy getting it done. I got him getting it done. We'll see the changes to come. We'll see the who gets healthier as far as the season goes, because the Chiefs have a lot of guys hurt. But I just feel like it's one of those seasons where this guy, Mahomes, is playing at such a high level where there's very few guys that can put the team on their back. Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL currently, and I don't care what you say. He doesn't do it the same way that everybody else does it. He's not a traditional quote-unquote quarterback, but neither is Mahomes, neither is Lamar Jackson. A lot of guys aren't traditional, right? But he knows how to win games with his team. And he does have the better team. The Eagles are a better, pound-for-pound, better team. Right. They are. But I just feel like Mahomes is going to elevate them to that level. But there was this thing this quote I've seen on, let's not say all-time greatest players, right? All-time greatest quarterbacks, right? Tom just retired. Tom is the GOAT. Tom is a stack above everybody else, right? So we wouldn't even say all-time greatest players, because, we got Floyd, we have Tiger, we have Messi and Ronaldo, Serena Williams, Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer. As far as all-time quarterbacks go, Mahomes is 5 years as a starter in. Where do you see him in your NFL top 10 quarterbacks?
Well, he's definitely a start. Is top tier, probably the best start a long time since Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl his rookie season, I think 1984, and lost that Super Bowl, and then didn't go back since and didn't win one. And then Mahomes has gone to either AFC Championship or the Super Bowl in his 5 seasons. And I think Andy Reid has a lot to do with that as well. That'll always be the argument about, especially what Andy Reid did with that whole franchise. But that's a whole nother conversation. But Patrick Mahomes, if he keeps at this rate, he might be in the argument with the greatest quarterback of all time, with Tom Brady, but it's way too early to even mention that. Tom just retired, 7 Super Bowls, 23 years in the league, and at first in every top category. So, but Mahomes is right on track if he can keep this pace up. If he can keep playing, barring no injuries, hurting his arm, hurting his scrambling ability, because all those things could happen, and that could railroad your career.
And postseason of any quarterback, win percentage, everything of any quarterback to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Already in 5 years starting, right? And so I think he's earned that right. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, without a doubt. He needs to win more Super Bowls so we can start comparing him with Tom Brady and Joe Montana, because those guys, Joe won 4, Tom won 7. I don't think he needs to get to 7 to be talked about with Tom Brady, because again, Jordan and LeBron didn't get to 11 like Bill Russell, and we all think that they're better players than Bill Russell.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I just really appreciate his greatness. I love him so much. And like, a lot of the guys are my peers, and he's my peer. I played against him. I've met him, all these things, but like, I appreciate his game so much because I know how hard it is to be successful in the NFL. And he makes it look so easy. He did this on one leg and outbeat Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is on a rookie contract. All his receivers are on rookie contracts. Higgins, Boyd, Jamar Chase. Those are all potential number 1 receivers in the NFL. Jamar Chase is a bona fide number 1.
Easy.
Like, you need 3 guys to cover Jamar Chase. You need 3 guys. Boyd is another guy who probably is a number 1, but because Jamar Chase is so good, he's a number 2, quote unquote, but he's really not, right? And Higgins is right there. All these guys are right there. Joe Mixon. All these things are going on. So, like, I want to see Joe Burrow's evolution when Joe Burrow gets his big contract, because it's coming up. Yep. And we'll see what kind of contract he wants to take. He can go the Aaron Rodgers route and get $400 million and get $200 million guaranteed, because that's what he's worth, right? Or he can do the Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes route and take less money spread over time so I can have more players with me, right, and this, that, and the other. So we'll see how he kind of handles it. And I don't talk down to anybody for taking their money. Everybody is not Tom Brady. Everybody is not Michael Jordan. Everybody is not Kobe or Shaq or whatever it is. So, dude, if you want to get your money, get your money. Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl. I don't look down on Aaron Rodgers because he wanted a $50 million a year contract and he's making $60 million next year. I don't look down on you for that, right? I got my Super Bowl, right? I want to win MVPs. Like, I want to show my goodness that way. I didn't have Bill Belichick my whole career, right? Like, Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid. And we talked about that. Coach, I speak on that all the time. Coach-quarterback connection is huge. Bill and Tom, it cannot be duplicated.
No.
It can't. The closest thing is Andy and Patrick.
Yep.
And they don't even they need to win the Super Bowl this week to even be in that conversation of Bill and Tom. If they don't win in a couple weeks, they're not going to be in that conversation, because Bill and Tom won 6 rings together. 6. That's crazy, right? You talk about Popovich and Tim Duncan, and you talk about Kobe winning 3 with Phil Jackson and Michael, and those things are important, but we can understand greatness when we see it, and so it's going to be so much fun to watch. I love the parody in sports. We didn't even get to the WWE stuff and MMA stuff, but it's been a great conversation as usual. We're going to see you guys soon, but man, listen, but man, it's been crazy. Sports is fun, man. It's been exciting to watch. It's exciting to talk to you guys, and always is love.
Yep, it's always love, and it's always fun to talk to you, Caleb. Look forward to getting to you again. So get on here next week. See what we got. See what we can bring on, and see what kind of other stuff happens here in the next couple of weeks, and see who wins the push-up challenge. But we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do is entirely up to you. I'm Blake Anthony. This is CB, Mr. Caleb Benenoch, the NFL pro. I'm just the average Joe. See you guys next time.
Love.